Hey everyone, I'm Sean Lobo, the Chief Audio and Systems Engineer at Audio Dimensions India. Let's start by understanding what are frequencies and how they affect the performances and the audiences. So we can divide the frequencies in kind of three sections, where you have your lows, you have your mids, and you have your highs. Low frequencies are basically felt more than heard. They give you this sense of power, calm, or even sadness, depending on how and what you're trying to project. Then you come to mids. Mids is where your vocal range lies. This is when you understand intelligibility of the speech or of the music and how it sits in a particular track. Then you have your highs. These are your higher parts of your vocal range, where your brightness lies, where your speech intelligibility, the sibilance, and all of this matters in terms of how you perceive and how you understand the sound. So in terms of performers, when you're choosing a mic, you should see something that emits your voice naturally. It should sound as close as to the source as possible. That's when you know you have picked up the right choice of mic. Movement totally depends on the kind of performance you're looking at, and it's really a gameplay in between how you're projecting your voice into the microphone and the distance it is at, and how you play around with it is totally upon you, and you have to find your forte in that. And it would be best to do this at home with a normal mic or anything, just to get a hang of it. Source is where your sound is coming out from. To put it in simple words, if I'm speaking, I would rather have the mic as close to me as possible, because it's better that way. If I keep it too far, I'm capturing more of the ambient sound rather than the direct sound. So when I mention source, it is any kind of sound that's emitting from a particular object. Keep the mic as close as possible. You play with the proximity effect again. Depending on that, you move the mic away. You have to choose how you want the sound, and then you adjust your mics accordingly. Now moving on to the wireless microphones. Here we have, this is what you call a handheld or a cordless. You can call it either. And the way you use this ideally would be here. So you can keep a fist of a distance in between your mic. This would be the most ideal position in terms of your proximity effect and in terms of better gain than feedback. The more further the mic, the more ambient noise it picks. The more closer you are to the source, which is where the sound comes from, is better, because you're picking up the direct source rather than the ambient noise that comes from more coverage in between you and the mic. So this is a cordless mic. Moving on, we have the lapel mic. Now this can be used in terms of moving freely when you're having panel discussions, when you're having skits. It can be used very creatively. This ideally needs to be clipped right here. You could say in between your chest and your chin, a mid-range, whichever sounds better. You could use that. And these mics are very sensitive. So in terms of understanding where to use this and how to use them, you would rather want it to be in a controlled environment where you don't have much of ambient noise, so it picks up just the source, having less post-production work to do once your recordings are done or post your show. Next, we have your headset mic. This can be used for the same purposes as speeches or having panel discussions, where you have a moderator, where he has to look left, he has to look right, because you have panelists on both your sides. So ideally, this is how you would want to wear it. And always remember that this mic should not come near your mouth, because in the end, if it is ahead, you'll end up picking up more of your plosives, your purrs, your burrs, which is not good and which would sound distorted when you're giving your speech. This mic, your headset or your lavalier, would be ideal in terms of addressing someone, or for musicians when they don't want to have to hold the cordless mic and have their hands free. You can use this for your theater, you can use this for small acts, and yeah, you should be good to go with all of this. I have a few types of mics that can be used in a live or studio environment. This here is a dynamic microphone. We can use this for any kinds of instruments that we have on live performances. Then we have the two condensers. You have condenser mics. This is your small diaphragm, which you can use for more of your instrument miking, which need more presence, more high-end, more highs of your frequency range. And then you have your large diaphragm condenser. You can use this for your instruments as well as your vocals. So this works both ways. A pop filter is basically a mesh that you have in front of your mic. It helps you reduce, I would say, and eradicate plosive sounds. When I say plosive sounds, it means sounds that start from P and B. So when we are talking, there's something that we say and it's picking up that in a way that is very distorted. So to avoid that, we use pop filters. You can even use it when an environment is a bit windy. So it avoids taking up the wind sounds rather than your main sound. In terms of monitoring, every artist or anyone speaking on stage would require some kind of reference. They need to hear themselves. Now in terms of speech, when I am speaking, I'm addressing a crowd. I need to hear myself or it'll put me off in terms of me hearing the PA sound or the reflections of the venue. So I need monitoring. Now when I say monitoring, I can choose it to be wireless or I can choose it to be a wedge on stage. It totally depends on your comfort, how you are comfortable with it. For performers, it's very crucial because it helps them stay in time and in sync in terms of their other artists on stage, and it's a performance. Everyone needs to be on time, so they need personal monitoring. They need to hear themselves, they have to be on time. So monitoring is very crucial in terms of any kind of performances that you have. In terms of performers, so say you have dancers on stage. Now if you have a small stage, you can work around with wedges, which are monitors on stage. If you have a large format where you are catering to like a bigger crowd or you're in an outdoor venue, you can request for side fills. That helps in terms of monitoring for your dancers where you have bigger groups and you need more sound on stage. So monitoring is very crucial in terms of timing for everyone, whoever is on stage, and basically keeping them in key as well. In terms of tuning, so when you get to the venue, you have to start your sound check. You have to keep things prepared before your artists are in. You have to keep everything in terms of your miking, your RF, everything on point and show ready. Then you have your rehearsals where your artists come in and they have to do their bit and get relaxed and get accustomed to the venue. In terms of sound check, you should be ready with your artist. The key thing to remember would be communication. You need to communicate with the said artist or the MC or whoever you're interacting with who is on stage and would be speaking on a mic. They need to understand and feel free in terms of speaking to you how they want their stuff, how they want their vocals to be, if they want it more bassy, if they want it more clear. Then you need to remember hotspots where in case you have your performers coming into the crowd, there are high chances of feedback. So you have to take all this into consideration during your sound check, have them check from stage, have them check from the audience. So sound check is very crucial for any show that you are at. You have different room sizes, you have different kinds of events which are indoor, which are outdoor. The way the sound interacts in each venue is different and it will never be the same, even though your gear would be the same. Each venue comes with different characteristics of absorption, reflection, the kind of materials used. Outdoor, it's more on where your location is, how the sounds affect the set performance. Then when it comes to performers or artists or any kind of people who are on stage and how they plan to use their mics, and during sound check it's very crucial to set their mics, their tones, how they want the sound to be. If an MC approaches you and says, I need more bass. So you need to EQ and tone and tune that accordingly. In terms of when you're addressing the crowd, say you're on stage, no, there's no problem. We have EQ'd your mic, there's no signs of feedback. But then in case you want to come into the crowd, during sound check, you can come into the crowd at the same time, have the engineer EQ the mic accordingly so there are no hot spots. You can move freely and there won't be any kind of feedback. In terms of sound check for your artist, you need to understand what you require in terms of your gear, where you'll be positioned on stage. Have a basic conversation with the said engineer and make him understand your needs and what is required and how you all can work together. They are always there to help you. So always communicate and things will go smoothly. When you're doing sound checks, it's usually empty. Your venue is empty. You'll tend to hear a lot of echo because there's no one in the venue or there are few people. When the crowd comes in, you have absorption. Humans absorb mids and highs. So you'll feel that your volume has dropped. You'll feel like there's no clarity. So what you've done in sound check needs to be EQ'd even during your show, tuned, and just seen to it that it's intelligent and you're hearing what is said without having to stress on it. Or it's needed to be done twice, once during your sound check and once during your performance as well, but you'll have minor tweaks during your performance, so it's crucial to do both. So it's very important to tune your mic before your show because it helps in setting the tone of your voice, it helps in setting the gain structure of your level, then it helps in setting your feedbacks, where you can avoid feedbacks, you can cut that out. If you're near a monitor, we can have the feedbacks cut from the monitor. In case you plan to come into the audience to address them, then we can have them EQ and have the tone shaped according to you being into the audience as well. So you don't have to avoid hotspots, or it's manageable, and we take all of that into consideration during sound check. We won't have a problem during an event. So we have to always do a sound check and take these minor details into consideration. Avoiding hotspots during shows. You need to communicate with the said sound engineer, understand which places to avoid. Although he's done his bit of cutting the feedback in those hotspots, it's ideal to avoid those situations because you're inviting trouble. If you've been told to avoid hotspots, avoid them. The engineer would have taken that into consideration and done his bit. But if you know that you have to go in that said location, say you're interacting with someone in the audience, you've been told by the engineer that's a hotspot, you need to avoid that. But now you cannot because you have to address someone right there. So what you could do is, in terms of helping us not get a feedback, you need to just remember to not face the speaker. You do that and we will not have feedback. We will not have any squeaking sound. We won't have to reduce your levels to avoid feedback and maintain that same thing if these small things are met. In terms of your tech rider, you need to mention the kind of microphones you require, which artists would use what kind of microphones, the monitoring needed, whether you need it to be wireless, wired, or a combination of both. Also share your layout, your plotting in terms of which artist is standing in which position on stage. You need to mention references if need be. This should cover the basics of what should be in your technical rider. In terms of dancers, always ask for monitoring and side fills because that will help you all hear the music, be on time, which is crucial for your performances. In terms of artists, singers, you all are coming with your band members. So you all need to take each artist into consideration, be it a drummer, a keyboardist, or any kind of artist that you have part of your band. Always mention the type of mics that you require, as I mentioned, in terms of your preference, your gear, your instruments, whatever you all are using. Anchors, comedians, See to it that you have some kind of backup mic apart from your main mics. So in case you're using a cordless mic, a handheld, see to it that you have a lapel as backup, or see to it that you have a headset as a backup. In case anyone fails, you always have the other one working in conjunction to that. Always respect your gear. See to it that whatever is needed is communicated with the said engineer to avoid any kind of issues during the show. If you need to communicate in terms of monitoring, see that you have a shout mic on side of stage which is connected directly to your engineer, and your needs can be translated to him, and you don't have to say it out loud in the audience and make it awkward for the masses and the engineer. I would like to say always speak into the source wherever your sound is coming from. Always speak into that. Avoid any kind of hotspots that has been relayed to you, and you should be good to go. These starting points would help you go a long way. In case there is a scenario where your main mic goes off or is damaged during performance and your backup does not work either, you do not have to get into a state of panic. There is always a technician on hand by your stage. There will always be some kind of a backup, even after that, always ready. So you need to maintain your cool and understand and interact with the crowd in such a way that you are not showing it as an issue happening on the show. So that's one way of tackling it. You just head to the side, have a quick 5-10 second chat with the said technician and ask them to speed on the recovery process of anything that's causing delays for the show, and you should be good to go in terms of tackling that if you are faced with such a situation. Always remember that the sound should sound as natural as possible. The more natural it is, the more true to the source it is, and the more people can relate and understand the source better. I would like to leave you with a few glossary points that you can check at the end of this video, and I hope this workshop was helpful for you all. Cheers. This is me, Sean, signing off.